You are the one who waters the malt set on the ground. The noble dogs keep away even the potentates. Ninkasi, you are the one who waters the malt set on the ground. The noble dogs keep away even the potentates.
So according to the poem or hymn, the first step is actually to malt the barley grains. I am not going to do that obviously. What I'm using is our base malt, barley that's already been malted, and then we will go from there. So the next step will be to basically take 3 kilograms of our base malt, as well as adding some aromatics, which would be the dates and honey. So I'm going to take a kilogram of these dates and 200 milliliters of, or 200 grams of honey, and add that into our mash tun along with our grains and our papier beer bread. In ancient times it is believed that they used cardamom and coriander and maybe star anise or something like that as aromatics, referring back to the poem where they say that they stir in the aromatics. So along with the dates and honey, other aromatics might be coriander, cardamom, and star anise or something like that, but there's actually no real reference to that. I am, however, going to add some hops to actually bring it a bit closer to a beer that we might know and enjoy, and add this as our aromatics as we do with normal beer. What I've got here is, I believe this is Vogels the Blanc. By, kan jy onthou die volle naam van die? Dit was Blanc, was it Vogels of? Sorry, so this is Hallertau Blanc. And the reason why I'm using this is, it is hops that I've got left over from a previous batch of beer that I made. Yeah, in ancient times obviously they didn't use the hops, but this is my take on it. So just to add some aromatics, this will go in there as well. So the next step will be the mashing process. I am going to use my very simple little mash tun setup, which is this plastic urn with a false bottom. I am going to use my grain bag because the recipe refers to them filtering through the beer through reed mats, and I'm going to basically add my 3 kilograms of barley grain or barley malt. I'm going to add the papier, I'm going to add 200 grams of honey and a kilogram of, and then I'm going to mash, bring everything up to temperature in about 12 liters of water, bring it up to temperature and let it mash for about 40 minutes at between 63 and 65 degrees Celsius. And for the beta amylase to do their work and convert some of the starches to that. And then after that I'm going to bump the temperature up to about 72 degrees Celsius and let the alpha amylase do their job to convert some leftover starches over to sucrose or dextrose. I can't remember which one. And then basically just bring it above 80. That will be for about 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. After that I'll bump the temperature up to about, or just above 80 to basically kill off all amylase activity, because all the starches that was able to convert to sugars would have been converted to sugars. Obviously some of the malt in this papier that got toasted is now unable for the starches to convert to sugars, and that will just add to the flavor and mouthfeel of the beer. But the main conversion will be with the 3 kgs of the malted barley, base malt. And I think for this process I'll move out to our bar slash brewery area, so I can have space in the kitchen for my wife and kids to do their stuff. Then I'm out of their way.
You are the one who soaks the malt in a jar. The waves rise, the waves fall. Ninkasi, you are the one who soaks the malt in a jar. The waves rise, the waves fall. You are the one who spreads the cooked mash on large reed mats. Coolness overcomes. Ninkasi, you are the one who spreads the cooked mash on large reed mats. Coolness overcomes.
Here I've got my setup in the bar or in the brewery area. I'm just doing it here today because I'm closer to the electrical outlet. I still need to install one over there. Anyway, so I've got the mash tun with about 12 liters of water in it, and I'm going to add a kilogram of chopped up dates and 200 grams of honey. Then I'm going to add the bapir. The recipe says about 1.5 kilograms. I'm not exactly certain how much this is, but I'm going to add all of it and break it up in here. In the meantime, I'm going to let the mash tun come to temperature at about 65 degrees Celsius, so that the beta amylase can start doing their job. Just want to set it here. Set it between 63 and 65 degrees Celsius to maintain a temperature there. Just want to plug it in, and there it goes. In the meanwhile, I'll continue to chop this up and put it in the mash tun. Our second tray, which is a bit more darkly roasted. I'm just stirring it through and trying to break it down as far as possible. Then we need to add 3 kgs of barley malt. That's 1, that's 2, this is 3. Try not to make lumps. And there we go. Now we just leave it to get to the mashing temperature. At the moment the porridge seems quite thick, so I'll just keep stirring and get the mash up to temperature. So we ran into a problem. The element on this thing burned out, because although I'm using a grain bag, too many fine particles, went through the grain bag, or sugars, because this is very sweet, and then scorched onto the element, and I think that caused my element to fail. I've got another one like this, but I don't think using it will solve the problem. I'll just burn out the second one. So I am going to use my new distillation pot slash fermenter slash boiler on the stove. The only problem with that is that I might scorch it, because the bottom of that pot is very thin, but at least I can clean that afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to transfer everything to this pot. It doubles as a pot still and as a fermenter. So I'll transfer everything in here and go and get the mash to temperature in the kitchen, and then afterwards I will utilize this as the fermenter, because we are fermenting on grain in this recipe, or on the malt, before filtering. So I've transferred everything over into this stainless steel vessel, and I've put it on the stove and brought it to about 65 degrees Celsius and let it stand for about 40 minutes. Then I took it up to 72 degrees Celsius. Sorry, apologies, I'm fighting the winter plague, so yeah, apologies if I'm not 100%. Anyway, we took it up to at 72 degrees Celsius and let it stand at temperature for another about half an hour, and then we left it to cool down overnight. Temperature is now at about 22-23 degrees Celsius, so it's the perfect temperature to pitch my yeast. So I think I'm going to end this video here. I will release these videos in short format by chapter, and then at the end I can combine everything back together as the complete video. Thank you for spending time with me, and I'll see you in the next one.